Hello, dear friends. It is me, Nicholas Pythagoras, here again. And I have come with a video, and I would like to talk about just having a message to the poor, because I know we're living through some difficult times today. And I felt that it's very necessary to spread a message of faith, hope, and love to raise up the spirits of the people who are most affected by the economic travesties that we are living through today. So I just want to begin, and if you take nothing else away from this video, I just want to say this. Just because you are poor today does not mean you'll be poor tomorrow. Let that sink in. Just because you're poor today does not mean you'll be poor tomorrow, because anything can happen. Theoretically, anything can happen. Now, of course, I'm a numbers person. Possibilities, statistics. You're probably, statistically, your situation isn't going to change that drastically tomorrow. But let's say give it a year, give it 2 years, give it 3 years. These times will pass. There are going to be good times and there are going to be bad times. And you just have to have faith that there are going to be better times ahead. As I said, there's good times, there's bad times. We just came from a decade of a decent time. Now we're heading into some difficult times. But these things don't last forever. There's just a cycle, an economic cycle. Now, some not statistics, but some things that I would like to share with the audience is some interesting and surprising facts, just to motivate you guys. The first one is the greatest time period, or the time period in which the most millionaires were created, was the Great Depression. And that's very surprising because, when you think of the Great Depression, you think of, economic depression, economic recession, not good times. But the most millionaires ever in U.S. history were made during that time in the 30s. And why is that? Just because, there's many factors, but the main thing is that during times of great, let's say great change, okay, because there's a lot of things that happen. The market, and when I mean the stock market, I also mean the stock market, the cultural environment. There's a huge shift in the cultural environment that creates opportunities. And some of these people do take opportunities, and you actually see the opportunities more in the downturns. You get to see these opportunities that people take advantage of in the downturns. And why is that? Because nobody wants to take advantage of the opportunities. Because everyone is so, I don't want to say depressed, but everyone is so pessimistic about things that you have all these opportunities out there and nobody wants to take advantage of them except for a select group of people. And you don't see these groups of people until after the economic downturn is over with. So, yeah, economic downturns actually increase the opportunities that you can take advantage of. So that's why there were more millionaires made in the Great Depression than any other time period in human history. The other one is, I want to borrow a study from Dave Ramsey. And Dave Ramsey conducted a study about millionaires. And I just want to point out that there were 5 careers listed, but 2 of those careers, or which careers produce the most millionaires, 2 of those were accountant and teachers. That's very surprising because when you think of careers that yield a high salary, you think of doctors. You think of lawyers, you think of bankers. Now, granted, lawyers was on that list as well, but doctors weren't. Doctors weren't in the top 5. Teachers and accountants were, and they make a very humble income. Now, what does that tell me? It tells me that the job doesn't make you rich. The job does not make you rich. It is the behavior. It is money management that makes you rich. It's about increasing your revenue and decreasing your expenses. Now, I know with all the inflation, it's very hard right now. But if you can find a way, let's say, to live with a roommate or somehow split your expenses
or find a way to make more revenue, either during a side hustle, or I'm not sure with your job, or everyone's situation is different, so I'm not sure. Picking up a part-time job, somehow increasing your revenue and decreasing your expenses, because it's very possible to be rich. And the job doesn't make you rich. You don't need a job. You just need money. A job is just a way to make money, but there's different ways to earn money. Side hustles, royalties, selling content, advertising, investing or making interest or dividends on your investments if you're good at that. Because, again, as I say, teachers and accountants don't make that much money. They make a very humble salary. But how did they get rich? This study said it was from their 401ks. They had retirement plans, and they just consistently invested in that over a long period of time. And by retirement age, they had $1 million, or they were millionaires. So this stuff happens over time. So if you have the right strategy, it can yield literal fortunes, results. The other thing too, let me look at my notes here. The other thing too that I want to mention is that life is kind of like a Monopoly game. It's when I remember when I was playing with a group of friends, I actually won the game, and then they were like, well, of course the finance person has, of course the finance person wins, but that's true, because I knew how to make, take advantage of the opportunities, make risky decisions that were beneficial to me. And I just want to talk about this game a little bit, because there's a notion that there's somehow that luck is involved. And I don't really believe in luck. I believe in skills. Now, the difference to me between, some people are like, the stock market is like gambling. And I'm like, well, the difference between gambling and the stock market is that gambling, you're betting luck, on accident, on chance. Stock market requires skill. Stock market requires statistics and some analysis. You can't throw your money and then expect to win. Okay, you actually have to do some research. You have to do some statistics, some technical analysis, and so on and so forth. But I just want to talk about this Monopoly game for a bit, because I remember the first couple rounds, I was getting the worst luck. Everyone was getting good properties, and I was getting like mediocre properties, and someone else was getting the railroads, and things weren't going good for me. And even I teamed up with a partner, and other people they teamed up, so it was really 4 against 2. And they had more capital, which is to say they had more money. They landed on free parking, which means they had $2,000 extra dollars, and it was just me and this other guy versus like 4, and I remember thinking to myself, like, it's like if my calculations are correct, but if my finance knowledge is correct, we are going to win this game because we had the better properties. We had the better strategy. They had bad properties. They didn't know finance, so they were picking some pretty bad properties. I knew finance. I was willing to make the decisions. So if you have the right strategy, in time, the time will it will yield results. And I ended up winning the game, despite all the bad luck. They got good properties, but in the beginning of the game, they got good properties in the beginning of the game, and I got mediocre properties. We made some trades because they gave up they gave up their good properties, and I was able to take advantage of that because they didn't know how to make calculated decisions. So what I'm saying is, if you have the right strategy, over time, doesn't matter how many rounds or iterations it takes, if you have the right strategy, it will win. It will yield results. So you just have to have faith that these times will pass. You will have to have hope and serve in love. Looking for, let me look back on my notes right here real quick. That's the other thing too. And this related to the Monopoly point. Just because, and I know I said just because you're poor, it doesn't mean you're going to be poor tomorrow. But vice versa is also true. Just because you're rich doesn't mean you'll be rich tomorrow. Look at what happened in the Great Depression. Look at what happened in the Great Recession. All of these, most of these people, but most of the wealth that was accumulated in the past disappeared because people didn't have money management strategies or good money management strategies. So just because you're rich today doesn't mean you'll be rich tomorrow. So when you look at these people who have more than you, or they might have something flashy, maybe they have the car, maybe they have the watch, maybe they have a fancy house or a job, just because they're like that today doesn't mean they're going to be like that next year or a couple years from now. Because again, the market moves. The market, there's different opportunities, different things. It's like trends in culture. It's like cultural trends. Different things are popular at certain times. Real estate isn't always going to be the best investment, and maybe the U.S. stock market isn't going to be the best investment all the time. We saw in real estate, 2008. It wasn't a good time to be owning real estate. Although there was a huge run up from 2000 to 2008, and I plan to do a video about the phenomenology of the stock market, because it's very, I've been studying this for almost a decade now, and there are some things that are very interesting that I do want to share with people that some people don't think about. It's not really an investing video. It's just an analytical study on human behavior. So look out for that. That's going to be very interesting. I don't know when that's going to happen, though. So just keep your eye out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for notifications. Anyways, looking back on my notes here. Yeah, so it is a numbers game. So don't use your feelings. Don't use emotions. It's a numbers game. What I tell people is that numbers never lie, okay? Numbers never lie. You can have faith in the numbers. You can have faith in the truth because, they're unbiased. It's the truth. If something says, it's 50%, 50%, 50-50, heads, tails, that's how it's going to be. So take your emotions out of it. Yes, if you have the right strategy, then time is all you need. Yep, buy low, sell high. We already got that. And yeah, okay, have faith that these times will not persist. Just keep your head high. Just because you're poor today doesn't mean you'll be poor tomorrow. So just make those, good money decisions. Raise your revenue. Decrease your expenses. And that's all I have for you guys today. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Like the video. Comment. Let me hear your thoughts. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I will be talking to you guys real soon. Take care, guys. Hey, Nick from the future here again. Okay, so one point that I forgot to mention, and I'm really sad that I didn't mention it, so I'm appending it at the end of the video. And that is, if you take a look at a list of different decades and who the richest people in those decades were. So if you Google search who the richest people were in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, all the way to the present day, those people are going to be different. It's not consistent. So, for example, in the past, you had rich people who were invested in industries such as steel or oil, and you also had telecommunication. And now, what do we have? It's technology. Tesla, Elon Musk, Amazon, Jeff Bezos. You have Google, you have Microsoft. The people who right now are invested in the industry of technology. But that's not going to be the same the next decade. I was about to say next year, but it takes time for these things to unwind. So next decade, there are probably going to be a different set of individuals who are going to be the richest because they're constantly different. They're very different. So that's why I'm saying just because you're rich today doesn't mean you'll be rich tomorrow. And just because you're poor today doesn't mean you'll be poor tomorrow. Because some of wealth is like a popularity thing. It's a cultural trend. It's whatever is in fashion, So it used to be oil, it used to be steel, telecommunications, because TV was a big thing. And now it's technology. Technology is a big thing. So part of it is what's popular. So that's why I say, keep your head up because it's a cycle. These bad times won't last forever. And also, it's like sometimes good times aren't going to last forever. But I would rather live in the good times than the bad times. But I have faith that the good times are still here to come. And I'm just waiting. That's why I tell you guys, keep your head up high. I'll be talking to you guys real soon. Take care.